Hey folks, this is Matt once again, and coming at you with another review. And this is once again for Lane, who sent me this, and that is The Birds. And this is the Alfred Hitchcock collection, which I must say, first off, the DVD is really good DVD. Has all about the birds, and I know this shirt's silly, but it was given to me as a gift, so well. But The Birds, all about the birds, it's a documentary that's an hour and 19 minutes. And there's a couple stuff like a trailer, some little 1 or 2 minute newsreels from back in the day. But again, the documentary is really long, really in-depth documentary on the film. And the film stars Tippi Hedren as your lead. You also have Rod Taylor, who was in the original The Time Machine, which for the love of me, I thought I had that DVD, but I don't. I just have the remake. Because I really like the original Time Machine, but damn it, I don't have it, so... Oh well. You have Jessica Tandy, who I remember from Cocoon, Batteries Not Included, Driving Miss Daisy. She's in this film. And then you have this little girl played by Veronica Cartwright, who would be, of course, an alien in the 70s film of 70s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Now, of course, it's directed by Alfred Hitchcock. I believe this was the film he did right after Psycho. This came out in 1963. And the film, what can I say? It's about Tippi Hedren is this girl who meets this guy, Rod Taylor, while she's off trying to pick up these birds. And it's a little bit more of a fun beginning, a little bit more of a comedy in the beginning. They meet each other, they have a little back and forth. She decides to find out where he lives, which is Bodega Bay, and she buys these birds for him, and she's going to go off and meet him, sort of give these birds and sort of surprise him. So she gets into town, talks to a few people like a school teacher, and that's where you get sort of the first inclination of what's going on, because as she is going back into... She went across the bay to get to Rod Taylor's house. When she's coming back to going back into town on a boat, I think it's a seagull comes up and hits her in the head and gives her a little scratch with a little bit of blood. And then as the movie goes on, things sort of ratchet up very slowly. You have a relationship between Tippi Hedren and Rod Taylor developing. Then you have Rod Taylor's mom, who's Jessica Tandy. And you get a little bit of her story, Jessica Tandy, that she lost her husband, that she doesn't want to feel abandoned, so she's not sure about this new girl, and that if her son is with this new girl, that she's going to feel abandoned. But at the same time, they don't make her out to be a bitch. They don't make her out to be annoying or mean or cruel. They play it mostly just with her looks, and she's just scared, not a bitch, which I thought was a good choice. And then you have Veronica Cartwright, who's like a little girl in this, and she plays Rod Taylor's sister. And I always thought that was kind of weird. And by the way, for those wondering, this was the very first time I saw the film. It is right here and now. But as I'm watching, I'm like, Rod Taylor is her brother? I mean, he looks old enough to be her dad or something, but you know, it's her brother, I guess. So I thought that was okay, all right. I don't know. I don't know how old he was when he did this film. But things ratchet up where the little girl has a birthday party and the kids get attacked by these birds. Then you have your four main characters, Rod Taylor, Tippi Hedren, Jessica Tandy, Veronica Cartwright. They're in the house and all these birds fly in through the chimney and they have to get out of there. She goes... Basically, Jessica Tandy, before that, she had this chicken feed that wasn't working, so she went to talk to this guy and finds the guy dead with his eyes hollowed out, like pecked out. Like there's nothing in there, just a black hole. Which I thought, wow, that was a surprisingly gory shot that I didn't think this movie would have. And you have moments, for instance, with Tippi Hedren gets to a schoolhouse because she's going to pick up Veronica Cartwright, and the birds attack the kids there. And as the movie goes on, you have this sequence where you have they're in this cafe and this woman, this older woman's like, oh yeah, birds wouldn't attack you and this and that, and thinks she's Ms. Know-it-all, but of course you realize, she's wrong. But they never get the moment where it's like, haha, see, you're wrong, take that. They never get that moment, which I thought, so I told you so, but I think that would have been fun, but they didn't do that, unfortunately. And of course you have one of the more famous scenes where they finally attack the whole town. You have this gas that gets spilled to this other person, and the car gets blown up with this person in it, or staying by, I should say. Tippi Hedren gets to in the phone booth, and you have Spurs smashing against the phone booth. They get out of there. The four main characters hold themselves up in the house, and they hear the birds, but then they're trying to get out, trying to get in, so they're pecking through the door, trying to get through the window, and Rodtail's trying to get in, get his fingers bitten and fucked up. One thing leads to another, and then you think everything's okay, but then Tippi Hedren goes upstairs, and you realize they've gone through the roof, and they attack her. Again, one of the more famous scenes in the movie where she's getting pet. Doesn't get pet to death, but very nearly. And they finally get out, and you have that great final shot where they slowly get into their car, and you just birds everywhere. Birds on top, birds in the bottom, birds here, birds there. And they slowly move their car off into the distance. I will say right off the bat, I really enjoy this film. I could say I haven't seen a lot of Alfred Hitchcock films, I know. I've seen Psycho, and I've seen this film. And the other ones, I'm not sure if... maybe I saw once a long time ago some of the other ones, but I don't remember anything about them, really. But I will say, out of the two, I like this film more than Psycho. I was never the biggest fan of Psycho. I respect Psycho. I was never the biggest fan, but I like this film. First and foremost, I thought the cast, for the most part, did a good job. I thought Tippi Hedren, this is pretty much her first film. I thought she did fine. I like Rod Taylor. Again, I like him in The Time Machine, the original Time Machine, which I would like to get on DVD sometime. They both played off each other well. It was nice to see Jessica Tandy in an early role. Again, this was 1963, because I always remember from her films like Batteries Not Included and Driving Miss Daisy and stuff like that. So it was nice to see her back in the day. I didn't care for... It was weird. When I first saw this, I'm like, man, I don't like this little girl. I think she kind of sucks as an actress. And then when I saw the features, I go, whoa, what the fuck? That's Veronica Cartwright? I'm like, wow, she definitely got better. Because I like Veronica Cartwright in Alien and the 70s Body Snatchers, but I didn't care for her performance as a little girl in here. I really did not care for her. I thought she was quite bad, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion. So I didn't care for the sister, Rod Taylor, Veronica Cartwright's character. I just didn't care for her acting. But the other actors I was fine with. One thing I liked about this film was the score. There was no score. And that was... As the movie goes on, I'm like, am I not hearing any music? And then when the film's done, I don't remember any music from this. And really, there was no score. They used sound effects. And I thought that was a really, really wonderful touch. That not using music. Because a lot of times, there's a lot of pieces of music I really enjoy, but then there's a lot of times where if you did not have music, if you just had sound effects and silence, I thought it would work better. It'd be more effective, or more creepy, or more scary. Sometimes sound effects and silence are your best weapons, and I thought it was used very well. For example, there's this sequence I was talking about where the kids get attacked at the school. Well, before that, Tippi Hedren sits down in this bench, and then you see a crow fly behind her onto this jungle gym. Then another one. And then it cuts back to her, and every time it cuts back to the crows, there's more and more crows silently flying onto that jungle gym. And she doesn't notice this. I like that it's played with just what you want to call silence or what. I thought it made it more effective. I thought... And granted, I was never scared of this film. Of course, I gotta think about it. I'm 29 years old, and I'm seeing this for the first time in the year 2013. I keep saying and like. I'm trying to stop that. I'm trying to picture what I would feel back in 1963 first seeing this, but that's hard for me to do so. But I would say the attack scenes, for the most part, are pretty good. This is, of course, before CGI and before computers and stuff, and they achieved it very well. I really enjoyed most of the map paintings by Albert Whitlock, who of course went on to do stuff for John Carpenter's The Thing, among other stuff. I thought he did a really good job with most of the map paintings, and I say most because, yeah, of course, once in a while you can tell that it looks a little wonky. For me personally, there's a sequence where she's on the boat and she's first taking these birds to Rod Taylor's house. When you see her on the boat, you can tell that she's in a studio. Or there's a sequence right after she gets attacked by the seagull. She got cut. Her and Rod Taylor are walking in town. You can tell that they're in a studio, and in the back I think they said something about using yellow screen and white light. You could tell it was that sort of thing. That they weren't just on location. And of course that's because Alfred Hitchcock, as you learned from the documentary, he was not a big fan of shooting on location. He wanted to have the lighting his way, and especially close-ups. So whenever he could, he'd want to shoot on location. So some little bits of that seem wonky. When the kids are attacked, they're running. Like apparently when the kids are running in Tippi Hedren, they're running and the crows are attacking them as they're running down the street. You get an idea behind the scenes that they were running on a treadmill in the studio, and that scene wasn't really that effective to me as the other. Like I will say, I enjoyed the sequence where the birds fly through the chimney and they're attacking Rod Taylor, and they're reacting to nothing, and they put the birds in after. But I thought that scene looked really good. I thought it looked pretty damn good for 1963. I thought the attack scene at the end when she's in the phone booth and birds are smashing right into the glass, or when Tippi Hedren gets attacked upstairs, I thought that was really well done. I really, really enjoyed the last scene. I thought it was a really well done shot where you see all the birds perched on telephone wires and everywhere, and the cars way back here going off into the distance. I thought that was a really effective shot, and the fact that there was no music to hurt the mood, I thought worked very well. But when the kids were being attacked, I thought a little bit of wonky. Like even the birthday party before that, I thought that was well done. I thought the attack, I don't know, just looks a little bit too wonky. I guess for me, I could see that they were just walking on a treadmill, but I'm not going to give too much crap on the film because it was back in 1963, so I give it leniency on that. It was 1963. If this was done today, then I could shit on it. If they were doing that today and it looked like that, but those handful of those scenes, it was 1963, so I'm not really going to bash the film for that. I know it was 1963, and I thought, considering the stuff they had in 1963, they actually pulled a lot of the stuff off very well. And I thought that there's a lot of really well done matte paintings by Albert Whitlock, which is something you don't see a lot of days. You don't see a lot of matte paintings. Pretty much obsolete. So I'm trying to think of any negatives about the film. I mean, a little bit of those wantiness, but again, I'm giving leniency on that. Because there are some that are actually pretty damn good. Negatives, I didn't care for Veronica Cartwright's the little girl, her character. Veronica Cartwright became a great actress, but here I just didn't care for her performance. And I thought the film took a little bit while to get started. I understand that in the beginning they were trying to make it seem like a comedy, and then it was slowly going into the terror, or however you want to call it. But I thought there was 5 or so minutes you could have cut out. Like, I'll be flat out honest. There's this school teacher character. Really, her character did nothing for me. I didn't really care about the performance. I didn't care about the character. When they find the character dead, I didn't really care one way or another. You have a little bit of backstory that she was also in love with Rod Taylor's character, and Tippi Hedren stays with that woman. To be honest, all that I didn't really care for at all. I mean, I guess maybe got a little bit of information that she can relate to Tippi Hedren about Jessica Tandy's character and all this other stuff. But I didn't really care for her character, didn't really care for that woman's performance. And to be honest, if you cut that out, it would not have done much, at least in my opinion. This is my the first act I thought there could have been little bits that you could have cut. But that's just me. But other than that, I think it's still a pretty damn good flick. There's a nice little moment where you get a little bit where Tippi Hedren's character, you get the idea that her mother abandoned her when she was young. Then you have the scene near the end where, and then of course Jessica Tandy's character, she doesn't want to feel like she was abandoned, and when her son eventually leaves. So yeah, you have this little moment where Jessica Tandy's taking care of Tippi Hedren, she looks up and it's like a mother-daughter moment. I like that little piece of business with the characters. Overall, it was well directed by Alfred Hitchcock. The way he does some of the editing techniques and some of the shots, like when the gas station gets, when the fire erupts amongst the gasoline, how he did that sequence, I thought was well done, well shot, well edited. I thought, for the most part, the attached scenes of the birds were well done. Because it was 1963, they really pulled off a lot of stuff. Some of the map paintings, especially the stuff that they did, how they did the shots, like the last sequence, I thought was really good. I like Tippi Hedren, Jessica Tandy. I really enjoyed Rod Taylor. I like the fact there was no score. I thought that made it a little bit different. And it made some scenes a little bit, I think, more effective. Some of the attack scenes, like when Tippi Hedren's in the phone booth and these birds just smacking with full force into it, I thought it was really well done. And of course, this is Alfred Hitchcock's little cameo with him and these two dogs. But overall, I really enjoyed this film. I was surprised because I'm like, okay, I know it's got a lot of praise, but will I like it because I'm pretty cynical? But I enjoyed The Birds. I thought it was well done. And I can say so far it's my favorite Alfred Hitchcock film. So either way, thank you to Lane for sending that to me. And thank you guys for watching. And take care. Later.